the Raiders are living with the fact that they don't have their primary backup quarterback for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Aidan O'Connell has a wrist injury, fractured second quarter of the preseason finale. It will need surgery. And Pete Carroll made it clear they're looking high and low for a veteran quarterback. I mean, they do have a guy who's part owner of the team who could come in to be the understudy.
Here Smith, you go.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. My internet son, PFT commenter, made that remark on Twitter yesterday. Not in words, just used the photo of Tom Brady showing up for a Raiders preseason game wearing his Al Davis white satin jacket. But, Chris, they're stuck now. It's Geno Smith, and you're kind of screwed. And we're seeing that injury-driven churn that's going to happen during the regular season. We're seeing it now. And it's amazing to me how many teams just don't feel great about their backup quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, they probably did. They probably felt good. Aidan O'Connell's a really good backup, right? I mean, we've seen him be highly competitive as a starter and do some things there. I think ultimately what he really is a high-end backup. But, yeah, with him hurt, that's a little dicey for sure. I don't think you want to entrust Cam Miller from North Dakota State quite yet. He's done well. Don't get me wrong. He can play. He's got a little feel for the game for sure. I mean, that jumps out. It jumped out when he came out in the draft. You saw that. But, again, it's still a rookie, right? And I don't know if you really want to entrust that and put him in that spot. And we've talked about there looks like there's going to be some good backups out there. Kenny Pickett, boom, all right. We've discussed him. Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito. What do they do up in Buffalo? What's going to go on up there? Mike White, Mitch Trubisky. Who's going to be the guy there? Shane Buechele. He's there as well. So there's some guys out there that certainly would make you feel better than Cam Miller. And I would think that they make some sort of move to ensure that, Pete Carroll's first year here gets off to a good start. If Geno does get banged up, they got somebody that they can trust to run the offense a little bit here.
That's a great call about Buffalo because Mike White has had his moments. Mike White had the Jets fan base smitten, blinded by Mike White.
Right.
That's how I referred to it at the time.
Right.
So, you could dangle Trubisky and you could ride with White and Buechele. So, yeah, that's an issue. And you didn't mention the guy we talked about earlier. God, it would be hilarious to have a Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson reunion. And I remember when Carroll got the job and people started to immediately connect those dots. It's like, hey, folks, do you forget that Wilson tried to get Carroll fired, reportedly? I assume Wilson denied it at some point, but there was a report from a credible reporter that Russell Wilson, when things were going sideways in Seattle, made the argument that Pete should go and Russ should stay. So I don't know that fence can be mended between Carroll and Wilson. And I don't know that Wilson would even want to go there, but you can get him for $2 million. Now you're going to have to give the Giants real compensation for him. But if they're looking high and low, well, Russell Wilson is one of the guys they need to at least consider.
I don't think they do that. I think you stated it clearly. I don't think that ended real well. I don't. I think, I feel like they've taken some, shots a little bit maybe at Russell Wilson too. He's clearly stated how much he likes Geno Smith, and that's his guy, right? I mean, he even got into, Geno and he at one point, didn't he get on like Russell with some of the wristband stuff and all of that? I just don't see to be that a marriage that can be, put back together there. I'm stumbling on words, but you know what I'm saying. I think they're going to look for a guy that is clearly a backup, not upset anything, not have, West Coast people who have seen Russell with the Seahawks and all of that, who are all going to be like, oh, man, Geno threw an interception. Let's put Russell Wilson in. They don't want to deal with that. Geno's their guy. They want to frame it around him, and then they'll just try to, I would think, find a worthy backup with one of those names maybe we just mentioned.
Since we're triggering people today, Pete Carroll and the Raiders represent the intersection of the only two teams that gave the time of day to Colin Kaepernick. And I'm kidding about that because I've been saying for years now, the ship has sailed. It's not going to happen. But the Seahawks did bring him in for a visit And the Raiders 3 years ago did bring him in for a workout. And we do have the intersection of Pete Carroll and the Raiders right now. But I am kidding about that. Before you get your pitchforks out and before you start tweeting and writing your blogs about how I'm pushing for Kaepernick, I'm joking. But he is available, and they are looking everywhere. I mean, if they're looking everywhere, I would say Kaepernick's more likely than Russell Wilson, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Well, I thought of it because you mentioned that if Geno Smith has one bad throw, people are going to be saying, put Russell in. I mean, you and I suspected at the time the reason they didn't bring Kaepernick in is there was concern the Richard Shermans of the world would say that about Kaepernick.
Yeah, sure.
If Russell Wilson threw an interception.
Right. No, yeah,
he's better.
Yeah.
Put him in. He's better.
Right. Hey, Colin Kaepernick had top-of-the-line talent. There's no question about that. But, yeah, I think that ship has sailed. Now, look at this. One segment, you brought up Brady and Kaepernick in the
That's all right. That's good.
The same one.
Playing the hits.
Unbelievable.
The new ones and the old ones.
Right.
Shedeur Sanders and Colin Kaepernick. New music and old music, all in the same song. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.